Welcome back to the Popped Podcast, where we uncover real, raw, and rarely discussed truths about pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Muery, prenatal and postpartum chiropractor, birth doula, and founder of Move Moms at Move Chiropractic Boulder. Today is going to be a quick little episode. I just want to dive into something that I've been talking a lot about in the office with a lot of my Move mamas and their new Move babies. So, we are talking about car seats and why babies are so uncomfortable in car seats, why they're irritated, why they get agitated for car rides. And if your baby loves the car seat, this is not an episode to tell you that there's something wrong with your baby. If they love the car seat, this is just for a vast majority of babies who don't enjoy car rides or car seats. So let's dive into it. Why do babies not love car seats? It's really common. It's not necessarily a reflection of bad babies or wrong parenting, nothing like that. A lot of times car seats are just restrictive. They restrict movement, they prevent physical contact, and they often trigger baby startle reflex and their sympathetic nervous system in domination. So we've talked a lot about parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, and just as much as that affects mom, it also affects baby as much as they're co-regulating with mom. Babies do have their own sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and when they're not necessarily being co-regulated by mom, it's often that their nervous system comes out, and without a ton of support or knowledge on how to deal with these expressions of their nervous system, it can seem like they're having a bad time or temper tantrum, whatever you want to name it, a meltdown. They just don't like the car ride. So babies are wired for proximity. They are meant to be close to mom, and in the car, often there's separation. Mom is often in the front seat, baby's in the back seat. Sometimes we have awesome circumstances where dad can always drive or partner can always drive and mom can stay in the back, or somebody can stay in the back and be next to baby and co-regulate with them. However, that's not always the case. So why is this a nervous system thing? The car seat puts babies in this semi-reclined, often very flexed, very contained position where we are overstimulating immature nervous systems. Like I said, babies' nervous systems aren't built, they're not adapted, they're not sure how to deal with the different expressions of their nervous system. The vestibular system, or their balance system, may get disoriented by car movement without visual reference points. Babies are facing backwards. They're looking at the back of a car seat and stuff moving out of the side of them. They can't always pinpoint where they are, right? They don't know the world. They don't know the directions to the gas station or your local chiropractor, wherever it is that you might be driving to. They don't know these destinations or these landmarks to pinpoint that they know where they're going or that they are safe wherever it is that they are going. The sensory overload with light, sound, motion, and lack of co-regulation or lack of closeness of a trusted caregiver for a baby can lead to distress. And how do babies express distress? How do babies express most of their needs? Usually through crying or through very specific sounds. So if you think about the position that you sit in, if you're sitting at your desk for work, or if you think about anybody sitting at a desk for work, it's typically this hunched over, curled shoulder, very dominant flexion position. This is the same position that we're putting babies into when we put them into a car seat. Now, aside of that factoid, when we have normal patients come into the chiropractic office, we're asking them what they do for work, just because we want to know how you're standing, how are you sitting, how are you spending most of your day, standing, sitting, what positions. When we're sitting in a hunched position, even if you're standing in a slightly hunched position, this flexion dominant position, this is the same position you would get into if you had a fight or flight situation. So when your body sits in this position day in and day out, you are falsely sending fight or flight signals up to the brain. Now let's translate this back to baby. Baby sitting in a car seat in that reclined, slightly flexed position is now having false fight or flight signals sent up to their brain while they're already having a very overstimulating response. This combination can really lead to these huge meltdowns that we see a lot of kids have either in the car or trying to get into the car because they know what they're about to experience. It's already stressful being in their car seat, and then we start adding the motion, we start adding the light, we start adding the extra sounds, all the bumps, and then where's mom? It's a lot happening. Their nervous system just gets overwhelmed really quickly, and by a combination of a lot of different things all just at once. Now, let's look at the primal perspective and why feeling contained can feel unsafe. So, human babies are carrying mammals. We've talked about this before. Babies are expected and expect to be carried. That is where they feel safety. Biologically expecting to be worn or held and then not being worn or held can be disorienting. So, our ancestors, hundreds and thousands of years, have not had cars to travel. And when moms would travel or they would get from place to place, they were carrying or wearing baby. So, baby was next to or very close to them. So, we have millions of years of evolutionary writing that we're trying to undo pretty quickly with a car seat and the car. It's a great way for us to get from point A to point B. I'm not saying we should get rid of cars, but it is something to note that we didn't always use cars. So it's not normal for babies to be in car seats for long periods of times or being in a car for a long period of time. As a population, babies are used to being worn and held and carried even when traveling. So being alone in the back seat can really go against all of this evolutionary writing in their DNA. The crying is just their way of expressing, this is not what I am expecting right now. I want to be near my mom. If we're traveling, I don't know where we're going. I want to be near my mom. So this is not a manipulation tactic. They're not just trying to get you closer to them. They're really just need you closer to them. That's what their body needs to co-regulate and to understand what the process is, what's happening. Moving on to what crying in the car actually signals. Baby is usually saying, I'm overwhelmed. They're usually saying, I'm scared or alone, or I feel alone. And then they're also saying, my sensory system doesn't know how to process this yet. There's a lot of unfamiliarity in a car. Even if they've been in a car seat multiple times, it's different times of day. It's different landmarks that they're seeing out of the window, which they're not remembering, right? Babies don't have a long memory time lapse. So it's hard for them to remember these specific landmarks that they pass all the time unless we are traveling, walking, moving through a stroller, something that they can see almost daily where they have full access to see it and not just the corner sliver of the back seat window. Tips for making car rides easier. So, using calming music or white noise, mimic womb sounds, it's really great for getting baby into a car seat, especially if you're just coming in and out of places. I notice a lot of moms who come in and out of the chiropractic office. If baby's not getting adjusted that day, they'll leave a little white noise machine in the car seat. But most of the times, we take babies out, even if it's just a 15-minute adjustment. We like to take babies out, give them a rest from the car seat because they just came in the car from wherever they were coming from, and then they've probably got to go somewhere else, right? So we want to take them out, give them a break, get them some motion, give them some human interaction and some playtime. And then a lot of them do end up getting adjusted. So we get to actually adjust their bodies, start regulating their nervous system, especially if they just had a stressful car ride or there's been accumulated stress over the past week or two, and now the stress of the car ride just tipped them overboard. Back to calming music though, some babies, if you can find a song that you really enjoy that you could listen to over and over, but something that has a beat or something very memorable about the song that you guys can tune into, it's really great. My friend Sarah, who I've talked about a lot of times on this podcast, her song for her baby was Seven Nation Army. And so funny, but it has such a good beat. If you think about it as such a good beat, and it could really easily help her baby find the beat, find the rhythm, and something familiar to latch onto, especially if the car was starting to get overstimulating, if he was getting tired, XYZ, whatever it was. Offer a pacifier or a soft teether for oral soothing. Obviously, we want to be really careful about what we're offering baby, especially in the car, something that can't easily just all get into their mouth or fall down their throat. We want to be really smart about what we're giving baby to put in their mouth in the back seat. Now, I just said pacifier. I think a lot of people would think that I'm naturally against pacifiers, and I'm not. I actually think they're really great, and depending on the baby, they can be really helpful to ignite a stronger latch reflex. Some babies who have tongue ties or are working through releasing their tongue ties still have to regain the strength to actually latch their tongue up and against the roof of their mouth. So, a pacifier can really help that sucking reflex for the tongue to be pushing up closer to the roof of the mouth. Try preloading and skin to skin before the car ride. So, preloading meaning get all of your stuff in the car and cool the car down, especially in the summer. Make sure the car is already a very optimal temperature for everybody included. A lot of parents who come to the office, dad or mom will stay in the car during the summer just to keep the car cool, and they just trade off all coming in for their adjustments. Skin to skin before the car ride, whether it's just a little hold, just pulling down your chest, maybe doing a little snack of breastfeeding, whatever it is, just a little skin to skin can remind baby, we're not going anywhere. And having a conversation with them, depending on the age of your baby and your conversation type and the way that you like to converse with your baby, this might be a really great opportunity for you to hold your baby and explain to them what's about to happen. They might not understand entirely what you're saying, but they might also completely understand what you're saying. So just saying, baby, we are about to drive to Dr. Emily and we're going to get adjusted, and the car ride's going to be about 15 minutes. And when we get there, I'm going to take you out of the car seat and you're going to get to be on mama, and I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be together the whole time. Something like that. Having a little conversation with babies so that the more that you have these conversations, they start to understand what's about to happen and they can process what's about to happen before it just happens to them. Including baby in these conversations and your thought processes prior to taking out or doing whatever the actions are of your thought processes, it really helps baby to participate and be with you and active and on the same page as you as they grow. And the more frequently you do it, the better that they'll get at being on the same page of what you're meaning, even without you saying it all the time. Okay, you guys, I'm super excited about this new sponsor because it's somebody I've actually been working with for a while now, called The Final Punctuation. It's a female-owned, one-woman editing and proofreading service. Her name is Carrie, and she has completely changed how confident I feel putting my words into the world. She's helped me with everything from my brochures to my doula contracts to small marketing things. And not only is her turnaround time incredible, but she helps you to understand the why behind her edits. She sees things that I would have never caught and somehow keeps your voice intact while making everything stronger, cleaner, and clearer. She works with all kinds of creators, from bloggers, podcasters, to small business owners, marketing folks, and even students. Anyone putting their words out into the world. And if you've ever posted something and noticed a typo after, you know how it feels. One tiny error can totally kill that first impression. In fact, stats show that only one typo can increase bounce rates by up to 85%, and grammar mistakes turn away nearly 60% of readers. And I know what you're thinking about AI. Can it just take care of all my grammar mechanics? AI still struggles with tone, nuance, and accuracy, which is not a great combo if you're trying to earn trust. So if you're writing anything from podcasts to brochures, website copy, marketing materials, let Carrie take a look at it. Visit thefinalpunctuation.com to submit a request for any project, and tell her that you're a Pop Podcast listener for 15% off your first order. That's thefinalpunctuation.com. Now let's get back to the episode. This one's obvious and totally up to parental discretion, but keep trips short and plan around nap or feeding times when possible. Feeding and having a really good burp, let out, whatever it is, awesome before a car ride. Also, driving and getting somewhere early and then having time to do a feed in the car, regulate before you go into a place, can help down regulate from a possibly upregulated car ride and help your entrance into whatever establishment you're going into. Not that we don't love crying babies. We love every baby in any state that they're in, but it might help you to feel more calm walking into your next appointment, your next whatever it is that you need to do. Now, coming back to nap times, especially if your baby is a good baby in the car and your baby loves car rides, we don't want to rely on the car to get baby to go to sleep, because the reality is you're not going to be able to use your car every single time that baby needs to go to sleep, for every nap and every time they need to go to bed at night. That's a difficult transfer every time from the car inside, or if you're waiting in the car, that's a lot of time for you guys to just be in the car. So we want to use our naps wisely, especially if we know we have to go somewhere and baby does well with the motion. If it helps put baby to sleep, great. Let's plan the trip right around after baby's fed, played, and they're ready for a nap, whatever schedule it is that you guys have. Nap times, if they love it in the car, it's great to plan those trips around that time. If it's safe, pull over and offer skin to skin contact, especially if baby is having a meltdown in the car. It's not very conducive for you to be stressed out, for baby to be stressed out, and for that stress to continue to build in the car. If you have the time, pull over, take a breather, get in the back seat, and do some skin to skin with your baby. It can really help them to remember, my mom is in the car. She never left. She's right there. And for longer car rides, definitely taking longer breaks to do skin to skin contact naps, or just to be held and touching for some time in between these long stints of time where they're sitting in a car seat or wrapped up in the car seat. Support under the neck. Okay, this one I see all the time, and this is usually where my easiest tricks can help moms in the office very quickly. If you notice that your baby is bubbling around their mouth, or there's bubbles coming out of their mouth while they're in the car seat, they are actually losing access to their airway, and that is causing bubbling. So we need to actually give them space to breathe, and that requires some extension under the neck. Now, not every baby will create these bubbles, but every baby needs support under their neck. So there's really no wrong way to do this, or there is a wrong way to do this, but there's no baby that doesn't not need this. This is always supportive and helpful for any baby. So take a burp cloth or a small rag and roll it up. It does not need to be big. It really is so small. We don't want it to prop baby's head up. Like if you go to the pool and you lay on a lounge chair and you prop the back of the seat up and you're just kind of curled, that's not what we want. We really want there to be support under the neck where their chin can tip upwards. So if their chin tips downwards closer to their chin, the roll that you put behind their neck is too big, or it's too high up close to their head. Make it a smaller roll, tuck it under their neck and closer to the tops of their shoulders where their chin falls upwards towards the sky. If you need to look at what I'm doing, definitely go check this out on YouTube so that you can see. Chin goes up, not down in the car seat. We want the chin to go up so that they have space to breathe. This is also a good note. If you notice your baby is tilted to the side all the time in the car seat, go get your baby adjusted. This is the best way to tell if your baby has some tension on one side of their neck. It's really easy to see. A lot of times we see a baby come into the office, we're like, great, there's the tension. There's not much analysis we have to do after that. Of course, we will fully analyze their entire spine and nervous systems, but it's a really good indicator if there's some neck tension and if baby needs to get an adjustment. To finish this off, let's reframe this experience for yourself. You are not failing and your baby is not broken. This is a temporary phase, and their brain and body have to adapt to new stimuli. It takes time for babies to get used to the car. There's times as an adult I am dreading getting in the car because I just don't want to feel contained or trapped by my seatbelt for so long. It's okay. It's a temporary phase. It takes everybody time to get used to being in the car. Some babies do love being in the car. Some babies take time to get used to being in the car. Responding with compassion helps regulate your nervous system too. If you are overstressed out, oftentimes it doesn't help baby calm down. So then they get more stress, and then that just fires your stress more. We want to start down regulating or breaking the sympathetic stress loop. If we can break the stress loop with calmness, compassion, gentle voices, a break, skin to skin, something else, it's not that we're trying to distract baby from what's happening. We're trying to help them process and engage with what is happening without overstimulating them. And sometimes that takes co-regulation and skin to skin and reminders that it's okay, mom is here, I'm not leaving you, we are going to the same place. You just continuing to talk to them. I realize talking doesn't always help babies, and sometimes more is needed. That's why I've tried to give you a couple other tips to really help. If none of these tips are working, I really encourage you to start planning trips where you can have support in the car, whether it's your partner driving, whether it's a family or a friend, so that you can support your baby in the back seat and help them get used to what it feels like back there. One tip that I didn't throw out there that is always a great one, especially if you have some older children, even if they're 3 or 4, they happen to be in a booster, um, or maybe they're not in a booster, even if they're much older and not in a booster, having an older sibling who can help be calm and co-regulate baby in the back seat, it's great to have them next to baby so that they can start to regulate and calm down in the backseat, at least feel like there's someone there. Otherwise, having mom in the backseat is really helpful for baby to travel and be taken places. If you have a baby that already has a somewhat dysregulated nervous system, typically putting them in a car seat or in the car can exacerbate that dysregulation or that irritation that they feel from the dysregulation in their nervous system. If that is your baby, my best recommendation is to get them adjusted. The sooner you can get them adjusted, the sooner they can start to regulate what's already happening inside of their body so that they can start to regulate what's happening on the outside of their body. I wanted to bring this topic to the Popped podcast because, like I said at the beginning, I see it so often in our office, and a lot of times parents are showing up in a much more stressed out state than I think they ever were when they left their house. I want their experience to be at the chiropractor relaxing and inviting and a time to give themselves some self-care and some self-love, and that doesn't always happen because car rides are sometimes wild with babies. So using some of these small tools to help bring some familiarity into the car, or even just getting your baby adjusted so that they can be regulated when they go to different places, when they experience new things. The more often that we regulate their nervous systems, they accumulate stress the same way that we do. It's in much different ways, but the way that they move, the way that they grow, the way that they're trying to build a foundation of standing up and falling on their butt and standing up and falling on their butt, and then they fall forward and face plant. All these small things do put small stress into their nervous system, and that starts to become who they are. So the more that we can unwind and release that tension every single week, the more that they can start to process more and more and more and actually grow as their brains grow without the the processing dysregulation or the arrhythmical dysregulation of experiencing something and understanding what it is and trying to process it in the moment. There's a lot happening as small children grow up, as babies become small children or babies grow into toddlers, start growing teeth. There's so many new things: crawling, walking, rolling over, all these movements and motions. There are so many new things for babies. So if we can help them to feel safe in their nervous system before they get into a car seat, before they get into a car, before they get into their bouncer, playpen, or crib, a lot of times we have much better experiences. We have much more regulated experiences. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, but for the majority, the more regulated we can be, the more regular our life feels, the less stress there is, or just walking on eggshells, like not sure if it's about to be witching hour, which we're going to have an episode about soon. Witching hour is normal, and that's okay too. Bottom line is, babies need regulation. They need help. They need to know what they're doing, where they're going. They like familiarity. So, if they're not feeling familiar in their body or in their car seat or in the car or at home, sometimes it's a really good sign that they need an adjustment or just some help regulating or orienting to these new environments or experiences. I hope this episode was helpful in some way to you. If you think that another mom would benefit from hearing it, please share it with another mama to be or doula. Please comment, like, subscribe, leave a review, whatever feels good to you. I'd love to hear your favorite tips and tricks to help babies stay calm in the car. Do you sing? Do you have a perfect song? What is it that you do to help your baby stay cool, calm, and collected in the car? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm Dr. Emily, and you've been listening to the Popped Podcast.